Hey,
Hello. I realized, I think, did you just join or did I just join?
uh, I'm not sure. I joined a new group.
It's I might have joined the wrong Zoom link. So, well, I'm here now, but the more I was sitting in it as a meeting, I was like, is this the right place?
Yeah, I always struggle to find the link, but yeah, I just found this one through the wiki, which I think is the right place to go.
I think so. I think so.
I
And howdy,
guess.
Patrick.
Hey,
Hey,
the Zoom software update, just in the right time.
Yes, love it. Uh, I figure a brief overview of the agenda is good, and then we can probably just jump into our discussion. Um, uh, we're almost out of May now, which is really exciting. Uh, uh, this is a Hyperledger or a Linux Foundation call, so there's antitrust policy and whatnot. But um, announcements, nothing really new here other than the timing adjustment of we're looking to move the call to Tuesday at 11 p.m. UTC. Which so a little bit earlier to help with the US time zone uh, piece, but should still be accessible from like the Australian and Korea side of things.
Hmm.
Any concern on this timing, and including you, Patrick, if you ever want to jump into these calls?
No, that's fine for me.
Sweet. So beyond that, not too much different here. In terms of agenda, big thing today is the Aries agent test harness. But one of the things I want to talk through was I want to, once I get the permissions to do so, I want to create a 064 release because there's multiple things that Patrick and team and others worked on that haven't actually been released yet, which I feel like I was trying to use it in a project, and so I've just been going locally instead of going off of the 063. So I thought this might be good to release, but I figured I would ask if there was concerns from your end, George, because you're the other consumer that I'm aware of with creating a release at this point.
Yeah, no problems with me. I think it makes more sense for the AATH stuff, and the AATH can probably be based off 6.4.
Yep,
Seems smart.
awesome. Uh, with that, you want to talk about the AATH, Patrick?
I can give it a shot. It's not that much of yeah, well, it won't take much time, I suppose. But yeah, let's get into it. I have some stuff. I have a little complications here. I didn't run it for a while. I was usually using my old laptop, but nevertheless, I can show something, or maybe we'll make it run live while trying. So let's see how it goes. Okay, sharing screen. Um, you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So I'll head back to Aries-vcx repo first. Maybe open some IntelliJ. That could be handy too. This one. All right. So ATH repo can be also handy. Pull requests. I think it's the recent changes were not merged yet, so I'll head back to this pull request. So starting from the from the basics. So there's currently a duplication of code between Aries-vcx code base and Aries agent test harness code base. Particularly in Aries-vcx repo, there's a Aries/agents/88 backchannel. The same code we see here is also literally copy pasted to AATH repo. Whereas the current rationale or workflow is that Aries-vcx is the place where the code is being developed, as oftentimes you need to go back and forth between the backchannel and the layers below that. The backchannel is the most abstract layer, the most outer part of the onion. So yeah, sometimes in order to accommodate the backchannel implementation, you want to modify something below the layers below it. So it just makes sense to while this whole thing is not that stable yet, it makes sense to have it together and flexible and get a live support from IDE rather than having two repos to push and pull back and forth. So that's the way I've been working with it. And whenever I feel the ATH backchannel is stable and ready for, ready to be made a pull request or tested in AATH CI, then I would make a small script to literally copy paste one direct, ATH from Aries-vcx into the ATH repo and push it to GitHub. Okay, now, so that's roughly where the code exists and how it exists. Now the way you can develop it is, well, first thing first is you need to run the backchannel when you want to test it, obviously, and you don't want to run it in Docker, but to keep the flexibility and kind of fast feedback loop, you just want to run the backchannel locally. So yeah, the backchannel is just a regular executable, Rust application. It's based on Actic server, and so you would just run it with a simple command. But for actual AATH testing, you need at least 2 agents. In some test suits, some test scenarios, you actually need 3 agents. But the most, core tests just require two back channels, each running on separate ports, representing a separate agent. So that would be, let's say, Alice on a port 9020, and we can run it. Oops, let me start from scratch. I also know that I have indie pool running locally. This doesn't work. I want to go full screen, and I guess I don't have hotkeys set up on this laptop as I expect. Well, anyway, okay, there's lots of stuff running, but yeah, the point being is I just want to note first, I have just a standard indie pool Docker image running locally right now on a standard port. This is not Indie1 network or anything like that. So I'm just running vanilla indie pool locally, and now I'm gonna run the one back channel on port 9020, and other console here I'll run another back channel or 9021. So that'll be our Elise, that'll be our Bob, and or Acme and Bob. And then in a third terminal, you need to actually execute the ATH tests, which would be done like something as what you see here. First, let me show you where I am in these directories. And also I'll take a step back here just to show where I'm executing this from. So this is in Aries-vcx repo, Aries agents 88 backchannel as the code I was pointing out. So I'm gonna run this again just for completeness. And then in this directory, I'm located in Aries Aries agent test harness / Aries test harness. That's the main repo, and this is directory within that. Let me open that in ID as well.
And is it appropriate to say that the terminal on the left there, the one in the Aries agent test harness repo, that's acting as a coordinator between the two agents to run the tests? Is that seem like an accurate description or not quite?
Yes, that's accurate. That contains all of the test cases, definitions, and basically submits instructions to the individual back channels and expect them to produce certain output or trigger certain result on the other side, in the other back channel, stuff like that. So it's kind of a component orchestrating the individual back channels and asserting that they behave a certain way.
Awesome.
Yeah, here we have the test harness repo. There's lots of files. But the main directory is here is the back channels, which contain the actual code for the back channels, which is being run in the ATH CI as a component under the test. So yeah, I mean, for Aries-vcx, this will be copy paste or sync from our main repo, the code here. And there's other implementations for ACAPI, AFGO, AFJ, and so on. And then the other crucial directory is the one Aries test harness here. And yeah, when you want to actually run some kind of test locally, then this is the directory you navigate into, and yeah, that's where I'm in here, and you run something like this. So behave, that's the Python test framework, and as well here in this context, a command line utility, how you can access the Python framework.
Hey Patrick, is that like some standard framework for this sort of interrupt testing?
Yes, it's called Behave, and it's running all of the AATH tests.
Cool.
Well, I can talk a bit more about what I know about it, but I'll try to run it, and that's kind of the showstopper I ran into, because I don't have a Behave here, or at least allegedly not. But I know that I was building these virtual environments, I think. Not sure if I completed the setup on this laptop. I'm not sure if this is right. I guess allegedly now I'm in the harness. Let me try to Google. Is this right? Tutorial. Do you guys use Venv?
No,
The
I wish I
virtual?
knew Python.
Uh, you're not familiar with this one?
I know of it. I don't know how to use it.
Well, it looks like it's generally correct. They're doing the same thing. So I'm just gonna assume that it worked, and I'm in my virtual environment called Harness. And I guess what we can verify that, I guess, if I run which Python 3.
I know looking at the docs and in that PR that you or that to update the Aries-vcx, it does it's mentioned to do like a /manage run set.
Yeah, there's this script indeed. I haven't been using it much. I just kind of try to the setup I have here is like the most simplest with the least boilerplate surrounding it. So
Got it.
because the setup script, it also, I think, spin up some Docker containers and the the Vona network and all this kind of stuff. Um, and I guess you can use that as well. Well, I don't know too much about it. It seems like it's relying on the Docker containers, which is not what I really want
Yep.
here. Like, I guess, ultimately, like typically when you are, let's say, implementing did exchange in Aries-vcx, first thing you want to do, you just want to try to run Aries-vcx against Aries-vcx kind of pair. And for that, it's like ideal because you can just spin up those two servers, the backchannel servers locally, and you have like super fast feedback loop, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Um, all of the AATH infrastructure, you don't really need to understand it.
Yep.
But then that script might have its place and become useful once you want to actually start testing Aries-vcx against other Dockerized services. Like if you want to run Aries-vcx as a Acme and Akapai here in the other window as a Bob, then I suppose you wouldn't run Akapai manually anymore, or like you wouldn't want to preoccupy yourself how to run each of the possible 88 back channels locally. Like you just want to have that in Docker. The
Yep.
only thing you want to really run locally is the one you are actively developing. So then the manage script definitely comes handy. But that being said, I didn't get that far. Like when I was developing the exchange now, um, the exchange testing, I just did this. I just had two Aries-vcx instances, but I didn't get to actually uh, have that developer experience where I'm running Aries-vcx locally and some other back channel in Docker using all the managed scripts and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, but so
That
for
makes
the
sense to me.
simple, mm,
Sorry.
yeah. For the simple setup of running two Aries-vcx instances locally, you can also just plainly directly run these behave commands, which is when you actually use the manage script and you are running the subcommand to execute tests at the manage script under the hood at the ultimate bottom is running something like this, and it's just switching different test suites and passing different arguments. But this is useful when you want to have like super direct control over what you're running with the least overhead, and you just directly run the behave framework exactly as you want it. So, but yeah, let's see if I can get this running. So I'll just try to run pip3, pip3, goes like this. something like this. Apparently I'm not in this is still the system Python. I want to have the virtual environment. How do we do that? What if I try different name here? Then harness 2. Maybe the original was. Okay. Create. Wait. Okay, so we created with this command, but then we need to activate it.
Uh,
How do I do that? Oh, okay. Source. Is there some hidden directory here for the Python environments? Or is it source? I'm just not sure where it's
did it
located.
create a directory for the harness too? It looked like it was.
Where you did the install part, that one you did
yeah.
on.
It's here, right? I didn't realize. Okay, so that's what we do. Harness. We can do harness, the original one, bin, and then what? Activate. Interesting. What about the harness 2? Nope.
Does the source prefix do anything different?
Oh, wait, we need to just source it, I think. Okay, there we are. So
that looks right.
Awesome. So behave, now we can try it. It should actually run a test, I guess. Okay, install the requirements. And let's go. It's gonna work. It's not gonna work. I remember I had this error before. Maybe I have already solved it in the other environment. Let me try that. Okay, yeah, apparently that problem was solved and it starts to running the test, but something fails.
Hey Patrick, how come the startup script had 3 different agents in it?
Yeah, the some of the test suites or test cases are using 3 agents, but if the test you are running is actually using only 2, then it doesn't matter that the third one is not running. I can just delete it probably.
Okay.
But I think, okay, so one of the agents is apparently not running actually. Back channel here. This is running, this is on port 20, this is port 21. So let's give it a shot again now. It looks like everything's set up. Right again.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it actually passed the exchange test. So it's pretty fast too. Took 1 second, 2 seconds. What's important to also know is how you specify which test you want to run and what tests are out there available. So I don't remember what's -k. Surely it's in the behave documentation. But important for the test specification is this T. So that is specified, and this code over here. So we can copy that and search for it in this other, there's directory where it should be defined. I think, what's this? Oh yeah. So feature in this is important in terms of the structure of the ATH directory. there's this features subdirectory Aries harness / features, and this is where all of the test cases and test suites are defined. So if you want to see data exchange tests, you can check this file, and yeah, you see them here defined in this kind of like human readable scenarios. Each of these is one separate test case. So there's number of test cases here. There's some slight variation. I know different type of invitation here and there. These kind of differences between them. And they all have these tags. And this is how this is what helps you to specify the set of tests you want to actually execute. So
You could do the one at the top. Would that run all of them? The RFC 0023 or
yes, you can do that, and I guess that's will be only not sure if that's only defining this single file. We can check that. Yeah, that's only defining this one single file. So if you specify that, it will run all of those. We can try it.
cool.
RFC 003, but there will be tests failing, but at least we'll see that it tries to run more of them. Second one, it's passing. Okay, it's passing more than I expected. Let's see, or is it? Is there some kind of summary of what's passing and what's not? Okay, so 4 scenarios passed, 17 failed. Not sure why 17 failed. I mean, there's not 17 scenarios here, so I'm not quite sure what it was trying to execute if there's only that many. Okay, I think I know. Because some of these, no, I'm not sure. I think sometimes you can in this behave framework you can run a single scenario with like combination of different inputs, and I guess each of the combination then becomes separate test case, kind of like you have the metrics in GitHub CI, if you are familiar with that, just like combination of different inputs fed into a single component, a single scenario. But I'm not sure that's what's happening here. Derived test function. I mean, we can see what it was trying to run here. There's all these labels, scenario outline. So if I copy this, okay, I need to copy it in its full length. Okay, so that's this. Is this run only once? Oh, okay. And as you can see, I think this was being executed multiple times. And I guess most of those times it failed. Establish connection with the exchange and request to reject the response. Okay, I don't know right now how this works on top of my head. I'm wondering if these examples are, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna try to guess, but it ran these tests, and apparently for some reason this scenario
Yeah,
is being
see
run
online
multiple times.
141 of that, Patrick.
Mhm.
Oh, back in the 141, and then oh, if you go down a bit, yeah, it has like reason in the caret
Oh,
phrases. Maybe it,
right. It must be probably using these as inputs. Maybe we can see if this is part of this. I think that will be it. Expire request. Yeah, I guess these are all used as an input and it runs this scenario multiple times with these different things.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and then yeah, also you can run, specific test if you specify this particular tag. Some of these tags are used across the test suites. So critical, for example, they'll be all over the place in all different protocols. They'll have like a critical scenarios, so you can run that. And yeah, I think the -k in that command, the -k, it also helps with the selection in some way. I guess it's, let me check what's that. Behave. -k. Okay, just output. Don't print skipped steps. Yeah, so that's pretty much it as to what I'm able to share with you. I know there's this other, like when these tests are actually running in CI, this this manage script is being used heavily, and it's quite long. But lots of this code is just a boilerplate and some kind of library functions. If you actually like delve into it, you can find the main execution part here is at the end, where it analyzes the subcommand you specify for the manage command. If you just run it like this, you get information about how to use it, and it has all these different subcommands: build, start, stop, logs, and so on. There's some examples here, but I believe if you try to do this, if you try to run manage run, Akapai and VCX and whatnot, it will first try to build Docker images for all of these back channels, and then it proceeds with firing them up and running the behave framework, probably again from some Python Docker container.
So presently, unless we dive in a little bit further and figure out how to, essentially we would need to create if we want to use the manage script, which actually is what it ends up doing once it's PR'd and in this CI, we'll want to create a Docker image of the. Oh, no, I guess you could copy it over and then it'll build it from the code essentially, right?
Yeah, it's yeah, it built. So in each back channel, that's also noteworthy. There must be a Docker file. Yeah, this is important. There must be Docker file which is named in part. There's a certain format of the naming expected. So it must be called Docker file, capital D dot, and then the name of the back channel. So here we are in the Aries-vcx. It must be called dockerfile.aries-vcx, and that's the Docker file to build the back channel, Dockerized back channel. And that's what the ATHCI relies on, and all of these managed scripts also are expecting to find here. Otherwise, those managed script will fail. One comment here: I know this is something I was also working on and rewriting, updating, and I'm not sure if that was completed, honestly. I think there was issue with the Docker file, and like it wasn't fully functioning, the Dockerized version of the back channel. And I wanted to refactor this Docker file, but I don't think that was 100% completed. So when you get to the point that you want to like complete this PR, which I have opened before, there might be some work to be done with the Docker file to make sure that it executes the back channel. I have one technical detail note here, but it might be useful, although it won't be overly specific. One annoying thing, a tricky thing / annoying thing about Dockerifying Rust applications is that if you follow kind of naive solution for the Docker file, just like take all the files, take the Rust source code, move it, put it into the Docker context into the context of building the image, and then you just run cargo build to build the application, and then you have entry point cargo run. Like it will work, but it will be very non-ergonomic for development, because whenever you make a small change in your source code, just in your own source code, and then you run cargo build, you run Docker build to rebuild the image, it will end up re-downloading and rebuilding all of the dependencies of your projects. So you're gonna recompile absolutely everything, which is not great. So when you're compiling locally, Rust is using incremental compilation. So if you make a change to the source code, the subsequent recompile is pretty fast. It just recompiles part of your project. But with this Docker, like naive kind of solution, you recompile not only your entire project, but also all of the dependencies. And there's a lots of dependencies in Aries-vcx. And if you don't have like M1 laptop especially, or M3, then it's gonna be very slow. And it's even slower when you're doing it in Docker, because usually your Docker environment's gonna be more restricted. So the best practice, and I think that's what I started doing, and I didn't finish it, as I recall, was trying to optimize this so that if I make a small change to the source code here, just rename one variable or whatnot, I can still have fast compilation times in Docker. And there's a tricks to do it. There's like Stack Overflow threads about this. Let me try to find something. Stack Overflow build do not recompile Rust dependencies in Docker. Oh yeah, it's already purple, so there must be the time I've been looking for it. So there's like various tricks to do it. Basically, instead of, let me see if I can recall it. In a nutshell, I think the main idea was that you first use kind of a dummy source code of your own. You have your cargo toml with all the dependencies, and then you have kind of a dummy code, something very simple. Just a hello world as your source code. And then in the first step in the Docker, you compile literally this project, a hello world with all of the dependencies, which causes you to build out the compile the dependencies and have the build cache. And then in the next step in the Docker, you replace this dummy source code with your actual source code and again recompile your project, in a second step in your Docker file, which ends up being built out as a separate Docker layer. And so then you're building this way, you effectively kind of separated out the process of building dependencies and process of building your own project. So then when you change your project, you only need to, you build on those previous layers which have all of the dependencies required. That was the trick here. And I guess there's more approaches for this. You can see here's a variety of responses. So I highly recommend, having a look at this when you'll be updating this Docker file.
So Patrick, you're making a dummy project with all the dependencies your real project needs, and then
Yes.
there's two different steps, and then that way you keep the cache from the first layer.
Yes. It seems like I started doing that. I really don't remember if I don't think I successfully finished. I think I ran into some hurdles there. Like it didn't work as I expected for some reason. But you can definitely refer to this one and kind of try to update this. But that's what I started this thing here, build dummy project. I copied the cargo log and toml, deleted all the source code that's commented though.
Yeah.
Well, something like that. It's not complete, I can tell.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. That makes sense. I'll play with that.
Then, I mean, I guess that's kind of it. I don't have anything else come in my mind, but feel free to ask questions.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for presenting it to us. I think it mostly makes sense. We need to get some hands-on experience there. Yeah, I was wondering about the process you go through to pull in the Aries-vcx remote version of this AATH test harness, how you go about pulling it into the main AATH repo. You just manually copy pasting the directory, and then do you change
I made some script, small a one-liner bash script using rsync to to sync the directories. Because there's something extra here, like this docker file.aries-vcx, I believe, is not part of the Aries-vcx repo. Like this is extra here. So
right?
but the source code and the toml and the Rust stuff, that's the source of through this Aries-vcx repo.
Okay, cool. And do you need to change the cargo dependencies at all? Like I imagine the main Aries-vcx repo would point at its own path for the Aries-vcx agent, but
Exactly. That's why you can see this here in the
yeah,
process. Yeah. And this is what's in the actual, this is how it looks. This is how it looks in the Aries-vcx repo. And then after I sync it up into this place, then I switch it manually for these dependencies and point to the revision I want to use.
yeah. Okay, very cool.
It does look like the Docker file .aries-vcx is in the Aries-vcx repo as well, though.
Oh, okay. Is it? I see.
I figured I'd
Maybe,
double check and see.
Yeah.
actually, I don't have this thought fleshed out, but I mean, from the first principle, it would make sense to build the Docker file. It would make sense to build the Docker back channel in Aries-vcx CI itself, and then maybe just because there must be a Docker file here, because the manage script, AATH manage script cannot live without it. It's expectation that this thing will be found here. I imagine from here we could just do something like I don't know how to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Aries-vcx back channel, uh, and then run, cargo run. Just simple as that. Like we don't actually have to build it in here. It can be already pre-built.
I like that idea because that can be more automated, and there's no code duplication, which could potentially have errors to it,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. I might try that.
But yeah, this was awesome, Patrick. Thank you for walking through it.
Yeah, happy to help. I honestly thought that I don't have much things to share. It didn't work. The behave script, tool didn't work for me. I thought I won't be able to demo this. Like I thought I'm gonna be done after 5 minutes, but apparently there was something to talk about in the end.
What it goes that way. And Patrick, what's sort of the current state you would expect the functionality to be in? Like, were you making these updates expecting that all of the did exchange stuff, between itself and maybe to Akapai or whoever would work?
So no, I don't expect it to work out of the box because of there was some, let me share my screen again. What I know is missing in did exchange. This is a rotation and some kind of signing. Did exchange. And you get a request, and then you get a response. Yeah, at the response processing. This is something that was added like relatively recently to the exchange, and Aries-vcx doesn't support this right now. So this is what's missing. It's kind of optional though. I think, yeah, it's optional. So, technically, I think the implementation would exist. Like it is like valid data exchange when you run two Aries-vcx instances together. But I think most likely other implementations are gonna be using this attach decorator, did rotate decorator attachment. Then Aries-vcx doesn't support this right now. So that's what's missing. That I know that's missing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with what the field does, but I'll read into
I'm
it.
actually not also familiar with the reasoning behind did rotate. So you
Yeah.
have brought this to my attention, Patrick, and I'm very grateful for that fact.
Yeah, that's how it's tends to be. Like you get to learn when you're kind of forced to learn.
Right.
Now we like to learn about the did exchange rotations or some of it.
Yeah, James threw some other rotate new RFC at me 2 weeks ago that I hadn't heard of. I forgot what that one was
Yeah.
called.
The uh did rotate is a new RFC that was or protocol that was introduced 2-3 months ago for essentially changing which did you're using with your connection. Um, the primary motivation being we're using unqualified dids and we want to use qualified dids, and you need to be able to rotate which did you're using, you know?
Hmm.
Do you, based off of your guys' experience, so we may end up, there's always a question of it may fail on the Aries agent test harness, but when actually interacting directly with Akapai, given your setups, has it worked successfully to between Aries-vcx and Akapai, or is there issues there? Yeah, does that question make sense?
For data exchange specifically, or just in general with other
In
protocols?
I was thinking in general, but I guess I want to use out of band and did exchange specifically because that's what we're moving towards. So
Hmm.
Um, well, generally yes, but the data exchange wasn't like the data exchange. There was a point in time where it worked with Akapai, but then there was a changes in DitPeer, and there was DitPeer 4, and then we did a whole bunch of updates. So in the current time, I don't think it probably won't work, or like, it was not tested. I
got it.
assume likely Akapa is gonna use the rotate attachment in did exchange connection response, and we don't support that. So maybe that'll be an issue. But in general, if you solve this, like there shouldn't be, I wouldn't expect any problems with out of band or uh, credential exchange worked historically, at least from I know George been using that, right? Aries-vcx with Akamai with connection protocol, and this
Yeah,
exchange worked for.
that's right. Yeah, the whole stack that we use at Anonymy for the mobile stuff. It's using VCX at the base, and we test a lot against Akapai. And that's for connection protocol, issue credential, present proof, and the V2s of that, but only the message structures are actually in Aries-vcx. But yeah, in general, that's all working.
Awesome. Well, sweet.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else we want to chat about for the next couple of minutes, or are we good for today?
Nothing from me.
Yeah, I'm
Sweet.
also, I don't have anything either.
Oh, sorry, I lied. I do have one thing. Did we get the maintainer request filed?
Oh, yeah, great point. No, thanks for a reminder. I'm gonna have a look at it right now. I need to backtrack which was the repository where you have to create the issue. But should be somewhere. I guess if I go into deep history of my account, I should be able to find it. So anyway, it must be somewhere. If I can't find it, I'll ask Rai. But I'll make the request and add you, James, as a maintainer.
Cool,
Awesome.
cool. That'd be good. And then James, you could update the maintainers.md file in the repo if you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
It was a
Got
great
nothing.
question. Thank you. Sweet.
worries. Okay.
Very good. We'll talk to y'all at least next time.
Yes, for sure.
Alright.
Thanks for your
All right.
time.
Yeah.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Cheers.